We're in your culinary class and we're in Unit 3. I think this unit is really an important unit because there's going to be some day that you're going to be invited to a formal party or to a formal dinner someplace, and you'll need to know how to act there and what is important and what is etiquette. You know, I was 15 years old and at a youth conservation, and I was working in the kitchen actually, and they pulled me out and said, "We want you to come and have dinner with the governor that's here," and they had a special table. And so going there, I went there and just like, okay, what is appropriate? So, you know, at that point, it was important for me to know. And so I think it's important for as kids to grow up and know, even if your parents don't always have you go to formal settings, you know, except for special occasions, but just to know what is, you know, what is not appropriate and what is appropriate, right? I know even Papu said, this is really important for my grandkids to know. So I hope you're listening. So let's go through. First of all, this starts with table settings and meal service. So we're going to start with table settings. First, it starts out, it says, when you're planning any meal or dinner party, there's two things to remember. So what are those two things to remember? How you will set the table and how you will serve the food. So I always try to get the table, if I'm going to have a party of some time, to get the table set in some way ahead of times. And then how are the people going to bring the food? Are you going to bring the food there, or are they going to have a buffet, or how? So those things are important. So planning your table appointments and meal service before the meal begins will allow you to spend more time focusing on the guests. You'll feel more comfortable instead of just having them show up and then say, okay, well, how are we going to do this? Sometimes I've done that and gave me a lot of stress, just to know ahead of time. So it's important in this chapter. It's going to talk about hosting guests. You know, so when you put together a party and when you're going to have guests, you know, and you're going to want to make your guests feel important, right? So how important it will be, especially as you get older. So let's talk about table appointments. So table appointments. So what's a table appointment? So basically, table appointments, it says here, are when discussed together, you have dinnerware, flatware, beverages, linens, and center pieces, and all these are called your table appointments, those things that are on the table. The table appointments used for a meal help to establish the tone, formality, and the theme of a meal. So, you know, how you put together your table is very important, and it gives you that tone. Someone go, wow, look at this table, you know, or the table looks really formal, or maybe there's a theme, a birthday party theme or something on the table. All these things are important. So what is the dinnerware? Well, dinnerware, you can imagine, includes all of our plates, you know, cups, saucers, and bowls. And there are many types of dinnerware, and we can buy them the type that we like, whether we're going to have it for a formal party or whether we're going to have it just for our daily wear, our informal wear, or I should say, you know, your daily use. So it's important that you pick out your dinnerware, your plates and cups and saucers and bowls, right? So, and it's based on your budget. You know, of course, you can't go and buy the finest china, can we? A lot of times, unless you have the money to do so. And basically, you can choose the type and style that are used for what you're going to use them for. So, china. Okay, let's talk about china. I have a set of china. I don't always use it, but I got it for a wedding gift, and I love my china. So, and of course, it is the highest quality. Our best man bought it for us, and it's amazing. And the china is probably the most expensive of our dinnerware. And usually it's made of fine clay, and it has a very delicate appearance. It is very strong and resists chipping. It doesn't chip easily. And it may be reserved for special occasions, yes, of course. And there's many styles of china that can also be used every day. So, and some have metal, as you can see right here. Some have metal accents right here. So that's important to know, especially if you're going to wash them, because some metal accents, you know, of course, can't be put in the microwave because they're metal, but they also have to be washed appropriately. So, and basically, unless it has those metal accents, china usually can be put in the microwave. Don't be afraid to put it in the microwave or in the dishwasher too. So, but if you see the metal, you might have a problem and wash it by hand. So, but look at the care instructions on the china and you'll find out. If the china has metal accents, avoid dish detergents that contain citrus. Citrus can damage the metal. That's good to know, huh? If you have with a metal accent, citrus that's in your dish soap may hurt the metal. Stoneware, okay, we had china, now we have stoneware. Stoneware is ceramic mixed with glass. So you have, and it makes it more durable because it's mixed with glass, and it's very good for everyday work use, stoneware. So, because a picture of it here. It is thicker than fine china, and it's stronger and less porous than earthenware. So it is safe to use in the microwave, in the dishwasher, in the oven even. You could put it in the oven. And in the freezer. It can go in the freezer. Though it can't take a quick temperature change. So you put it in the freezer and then you stick it in the hot water, you may have a problem with it. So otherwise it's pretty hardy. So that's stoneware. See, stoneware, you'll notice what stoneware looks like there. Earthenware. Earthenware is pottery that is fired to harden and glaze to make it less porous. It kind of looks like, looks like pottery. It is very heavy, has a very casual feel to it. I've had one of my friends actually made the pottery right from the pot, as a potter's field, and brought it in. But although it can chip and break easily, it's one of the least expensive dinnerware options, earthenware. Just think of earth, you think of pottery, right? Earthenware is dishwasher and microwave safe, but should not be left to soak in water for a long time. If you take this pottery and put it in water for a long time, it will get into the pores of the earthenware, so not to soak it for a long time. Glass dinnerware comes in lots of shapes, clear or colored glass sometimes, and they can be more breakable, but there's an appearance of glass that may enhance the dinnerware of glass, different colors of glass. There's vitrified glass. Vitrified glass is non-porous and treated at very high temperatures to make it very strong. So there's those kinds of glass, vitrified glass that is strong. And it also has a laminate finish on it, so it's opaque, so it's not clear. So it could look like it kind of look like china in a way. Since vitrified glass is very lightweight and nearly indestructible, dinnerware made of this material is very, very good for everyday use. So vitrified glass now is being used for dinnerware because of its durability now and strength and lightweight. So, okay, well, dinnerware can be purchased by the place setting. If you want to go buy some dinnerware, you can go just buy a place setting if you want. Each place setting can be either 5-piece place setting or a 4-piece place setting if you're going to buy these place settings. Of course, you're going to buy more than one unless you're eating alone. But anyway, each 5-piece setting includes, you got a dinner plate, and you have a salad plate, and you have a cup. Here's some pictures here, a cup, and you have a saucer, and a soup bowl, and a bread and butter plate. So you think of those pieces there, a dinner plate, and then you have a salad plate, cup and saucer together, and a soup bowl, and then you have an appetizer or bread and butter plate. A 4-piece settings usually are for more casual situations, and they have a salad and dessert plate, and a bowl and a mug, anyway. So 4-piece setting, they have these 4 pieces, and then consisting of the dinner plate, the salad and dessert plate, and bowl and mug. So a little bit more casual. So most dinnerware are in sets of 4-place settings, unless you're going to have a formal, like formal china or something. So going on here, let's see. So also when you're buying, you can buy open stock. You can buy each piece. If you want to buy a plate, you can buy a plate. If you want to buy a cup, you can buy a cup, you know, in those ways. But they also sell them to have sets, you know. So I like to buy them in sets, but also having the open stock in case you break part of your set, you can buy a piece, because it'd be about here you have a set of 4, and then you break the main plate, one of the main plates, and you have a set of 3. It's nice to be able to go and buy another set. And sometimes the old china is hard to do that. So many people like to have 2 sets of dinnerware, one for special occasions and one for everyday use. So the special occasions, they have special, you know, sometimes even special themes. You know, Christmas plates. I have a set of Christmas plates that I get out sometime for 4, setting for 4, and invite somebody over for a special meal with those. So dishes are an investment that can be used and enjoyed for years. I have a set of dishes that I've had literally for 40 years, you know, so I think, you know, we've been married for 46 years, so I think it's about 40 years, and I still have it. I actually bought them at Home Depot, Corral, and I have the whole set, and I love it, you know. So you can invest in and think, when you're investing in your dishes, you're investing in them for a long time usually, unless you buy a really cheap set that chips and you want to get rid of it right away. So anyway, think of that investment and choose a pattern, you know, when you're selecting, you know, your flatware, which is your silverware, and beverages kind of to go with it, you know, so that matches, it doesn't clash in colors and such, you know. It says, if you were to purchase dinnerware, what material would you prefer and what would it be made of? I think I would like the vitreous glass, you know, material, or Corral, which is type of vitreous glass. So earthenware is very heavy and pottery-like. I'm not sure if I like that, unless we're having a lot of hot, you know, when you go to a restaurant and they have very heavy plates, you know, earthenware. Flatware. So what's flatware? I hope you know that flatware includes all of your utensils that you eat with, your silverware, such as forks, knives, and spoons. And flatware can be made of different types of metal. First of all, we have, you know, the sterling silver is a very, you know, elite. You know, that would be a flatware that's made of an alloy that's 92.5% silver and 7.5% copper. So it never wears out, but sterling silver does tarnish, which means you have to polish them quite a bit, you know. So, I mean, you don't like to serve silver that's tarnished, that's for sure. I don't like polishing tarnished silver, and of course sterling silver is expensive, you know. So anyway, it can be passed on from one generation to another generation. You may inherit sterling silver from your grandparents, probably not me, but anyway, and it's good. I mean, it's good to have, you know, as it passed down through the ages. There's also silver-plated silverware. I call them silverware, but let's call them silver-plated flatware, right? And it's non-precious metal that has been overlaid now with a thin layer of silver. But it tarnishes just as silver does, so it needs to be polished because it has a silver plate, right? It's less expensive, of course, but, you know, the silver coating sometimes wears off, so they wear out. You know, so it's not the best. So it says both silver plated and silverware need to be washed by hand. You can't put your mother's silverware in the dishwasher. It's not going to work. So it's going to be spotted and such. But we do have what's called stainless steel, and it's the material most common used for making flatware now. Stainless steel is available in all different kinds of styles now, formal styles and informal styles and colors even. And the price actually depends on the quality and the weight of the steel. So some, of course, more expensive stainless steel would be heavier flatware, not the light, flimsy flatware, So because flatware never wears out and is tarnish free, it's a really good option. It doesn't wear off and it doesn't tarnish, so you don't have to polish them, and you put them in the dishwasher. So, and if you like gold, or maybe you want a different color, even blue or whatever, you'll find that stainless steel can be plated with another metal or another color. Actually, gold, copper, bronze, and rose gold are the types of flatware. So most, when I say blue, usually not blue, more bronze looking. So anyway, most stainless steel flatware is dishwasher safe, as we said. And it can be, you can purchase it open stock, like you can purchase a set together, or, a set that comes in a set of 8 or 12, with all the whole set. Here's a set here. And you can just buy them, just one fork at a time if you want to. So, and it says here, when you're purchasing, look at the shape and the weight and the feel of each piece to see if you like that kind. Here's some long forks and knives, bigger spoons, rounder spoons. Do you like that? So I wouldn't really be really wild about that type of silverware. So find out the kind that you want, and how it comes. Do you want it a silver color? You want it gold plated? What kind of flatware would you like? So contemporary style dinnerware will look best with sleek flatware patterns. They have like ornate flatware will look good out of place with casual stoneware. So like if you have some flatware that's all looks like has flowers, or has different figures, you may not want to use that one for just for pottery looking stoneware, right? Is what they're saying. So it may look really good with fine china though. So look at the kind, because some of them are very have flower patterns and have all different, these kind of patterns that you can choose from. So I have 2 sets of those. I have one that's gold plated that I use if I want to have a gold look with my china, because my china has a gold rim. So I bought some gold plated. It's cheap, it's not expensive. And then I also have a set of silver for any other china, or I could use that too. So silver or gold. So beverageware. So beverages include, all your drinking glasses for cold beverages. And there's different shapes of glasses. There's tumblers and stemware are the basic 2 types of main shapes. Tumblers are flat at the bottom and they don't have any stems. And of course, stemware has stems, like wine glasses here. See how they have stems? These are called stemware. And these are regular tumblers, called tumblers. So if you're going to buy tumblers, you know what tumblers are stemware. So when handling, use the stemware to be sure to hold it by the bowl and not the stem. So when you're holding it, don't just hold it by the stem, but it's going to tip over. Put your hand underneath the bowl with your fingers there to hold it when you're doing the stemware, is what they're saying. I think that's important, otherwise you might spill your water. So it says choose high quality, well-designed beverageware. It's important, it says, and it's when you buy a stock kind, it's easier to replace, because these glasses can get broken quite easily. And before you purchase it, take that glass and see, is that glass the kind of glass you like? Do you like to hold it? I have some glass that actually have indentation. Some tumblers have an indentation where you could put your thumb, and I love them. They're kind of weird, but they have that little indentation on the side. You feel like you're safer holding it. So it says, are the edges smooth to drink from? Is it dishwasher safe? Do they look beautiful on the table? Are they easy to drink from? Think of all those things. So next we have table linens. Of course, a lot of people don't use linens, tablecloths like they used to. But for a variety of reasons. But for formal, you may, especially for weddings and such, tablecloths and placemats and napkins and table runners. Let's talk about tablecloths. They should be well pressed. Hey, sometimes I get out and it's like, you can see the creases where it was folded up, and I think, oh dear. So I put them, I put them in my dryer, and put a little bit of water in the midst of them, and puff them up so I can get all of those wrinkles out. Sometimes I iron them. I don't like to iron very well, but tablecloths should be well pressed and have an overhang of 6 to 10 inches on all sides. So, a lot of times they think the tablecloth, it just doesn't quite fit, it just barely comes to the end. It's not really good looking, especially if it does. It has to overhang at least 6 to 10 inches on all the sides. So it's hanging down 6 to 10 inches. And that's for more casual. But if you're actually for a wedding or a formal occasion, you might want to let it overhang more than a foot on each side. You see how those tablecloths are hanging way down and underneath? So that's a formal wedding type. So 6 to 10 inches, this is half a foot, or a whole foot, for 12 inches for formally, or even 18 inches way down underneath. So you can hardly see the legs. That's what they do for tablecloths, like at, formal places like weddings. So, and they may be placed over a table pad. When you just have a table and you put it over, it's going to slip around the table. So a lot of times they have table pads that you can buy or even rent for the occasion, and you put on, and then you could put it over the table pad. So when you put the dishes, it's very comfortable pad underneath the tablecloth. It's pretty nice. So placemats. Well, placemats are inappropriate to put on top of a tablecloth. You don't do that, the certain placemats especially. And they're usually inappropriate for formal meals, but they're used for casual dining. And so they come in all kinds of colors and all kinds of patterns you can imagine. And so it says, if possible, leave at least 4 inches of space between placemats to avoid crowding the table. I've had to crowd the table a lot of times, and it didn't look so well when I had to crowd it. Usually 4 inches, is important between, because when you crowd them together, because you have so many people coming maybe, but it says to make it look good, put 4 inches in between. Table runners. Have you seen table runners? And they add decorating, especially Christmas decorations, and they're put down the middle of the table or run down the middle of the table, and sometimes really nice decorations. So napkins can really make your table look elegant, especially if you know how to fold napkins, which I don't, but you can learn. There's going to be some directions in your video that tells you how to fold napkins. I'm going to give you actually the video to go to, and then you can learn how to fold napkins, and that's pretty neat. So, and there's different kinds of napkins. There's the, your lunch napkins, and those for small, like luncheon, they're called luncheon napkins, but you use them for desserts and such. They're smaller. And then of course your dinner napkins are larger. And then you can have cloth napkins too. That makes it really formal. So it says that when purchasing table linens, choose items that are easy to care for. So, which is important because people wipe their face on them and then they'll get stained, right? And such. So try to get some that hold up to daily use instead of telling your guests, please don't wipe your face on my napkin. I love it. You don't do that. So they should be machine washable and dryable, the napkins, if you have napkins that are cloth. It's good now even at formal occasions to use some nice paper napkins too. You don't always have to have cloth napkins. So it says to help set the fabric dye. I wouldn't do this, but it basically says if you have table linens that you love and they're like bright colors and such, you may want to, before you use them, you may want to wash them in cold vinegar water, in the wash. The first time through the wash, put some vinegar in there to make so that the table linens don't get faded. I never knew that. Maybe even clothes you could do that. Put them in some vinegar water and it will keep their color. Good idea. But anyway, when items became soiled, treat the spots, before when you get your napkins after, that evening and you're washing them up, spray some spot remover on them, and you can iron things out before you store them, but I don't do that. I usually put them in the washer and then do it that way these days. And all table linen should be spotless with no wrinkles when you're putting them on the table. Yeah, that's right. So, and they don't always come that way. Sometimes I put them out the day ahead of time and put them on the table too to try to get if there's any wrinkles out. So, centerpieces. So, centerpieces can be any size, anything you want. They don't have to just be flowers, and they're kind of the finishing touch, kind of has the theme in your centerpiece. You must consider the size and proportion of them though. I've had table centerpieces that were too big that the people couldn't even talk to each other. So they should be not overwhelmed with small table. They should, if they're a small table, a small centerpiece. If a large table, you can have a large, it's good to have a larger centerpiece, but keep the centerpiece piece below your eye level. So I've had big centerpieces in the middle and we've had to move them because we're talking to somebody across the table, right? So here's the stop here, folding your napkins. This one is a scarf with a napkin ring or tie. So you're going to end up looking like this, number 4. This one is fan folding it. This is a cool one here. So, and you're going to do the videos on these, I hope, because I'm not good at doing these. So here's a candle. They look like candle folds, so you can make them look like candles. So here's a trifold. Let's look at that. The trifold that looks like, folding over, kind of looks like a napkin that's folded like in the house time. Those are just some of them. So anyway, those are napkins folding. So it says, guests should not feel as if they're talking through a table decoration. So keep in mind that the centerpiece does not have to be floral arrangement. It can be a decorative item, like you could actually make your centerpiece if you like to, or you can use a household article. I've done that before using a household. One time I actually used a timepiece as the centerpiece, and maybe put flowers or put something around it. Make your own centerpiece. Can be great. So, and it could be a theme. If you have a party with a theme, it's always fun. So candles. Candles can be incorporated into the centerpiece, but there are certain rules of etiquette with candles. Use only unscented candles because guess what? The candles, if they're making a scent, it's going to clash with your food when it comes out. And people maybe will say, oh, I can't eat it. The candle was mixing with the food and it smells terrible, So use only unscented candles. And use candles only for evening meals. You're not going to use it for a breakfast, a candle breakfast, use it for evening meals. And when candles are used, they must be lit. To be sure to light the candles a few minutes before the guests come. Don't light the candles where the guests are at the table. Not a good thing. And then blow out the candles right when the guests leave the table, so you don't have somebody knocking over a candle, right? Or wax falling. That's one thing I've learned about candles, to put something underneath so the wax doesn't fall on your tablecloth. Because if wax gets on your tablecloth, it's very, very hard to get off. You might as well throw away your tablecloth, right? So it's important to put something under if the wax is going to drip down. So the flames should be either above or below eye level. So you're not looking right through the flames at somebody. Good idea. So this is the last part I'm going to go through. I'm kind of going to read through this because it really blessed me. I don't know. I mean, not this one necessarily, but as you go through, there's a couple other, they have these little things from the Bible and stuff that really bless. But this is table settings through time. It says, throughout history, the way people enjoy and host meals has changed greatly. In the Middle Ages, we're going back a long time, 1500s, to, 17, well, not even 17, probably before the 1700s. We're talking about 13, 14, 1500s. The Middle Ages meals were large events that were crude, very crude. The tables were set with not very many ornaments, but they wanted to serve the display on how much food they could provide. So the whole table would be full with tons and tons of food, like heaped in the middle of the two. So they bring in all this fruit and meat and everything and put it in there, because that showed how wealthy they were, was how much food they had for everyone. And so the guests were required to bring their own flatware, what they were going to eat with. And it usually just consisted of a knife and possibly a spoon. Forks weren't even invented yet, just a knife and a spoon. And so the guests then would eat with their knives. They'd poke things with their knives and stick it in their mouth. That would be very inappropriate today. Where a person was seated at a table was based upon his status. And so people that were high in society sat near the host. And they said in above the salt, which refers to the salt cellars. So they were considered above the salt, or next to where the salt was placed on the table. Salt was very prestigious. Beginning in the 1700s, meals became more ornate, and they emphasized wealth and position in the society. The meal was served and also changed. Instead of putting all the food on the table, they would bring in settings of food, so they didn't have all the food on the table. And they'd bring out the courses, and they'd have courses. So this would be the first course, this would be the second course. And because the table had much more space, because they only had courses, they could decorate the table now. They didn't have to have it filled with food, right? So the place centers then became a part of the decor, and then they had dinnerware and flatware then, and they could make and the beverages and everything can be very beautiful and detailed. So eventually people who were not in the upper class did adopt the ways of being hospitable and putting on a table. So it used to be poor people, they couldn't have a table like that. They didn't even eat at the table. But then they got the use of a table, then they became have a much table manners, as did the wealthy. So, because the wealthy still wanted to make a distinction between themselves and the middle and lower classes, they continued to create new types of dinnerware and flatware and beverages and decor so that they could show that they were wealthy. So that's table settings through time. So we're going to stop there. This is really interesting, isn't it?